to Out of the Box Radio with me, your host, Christine Blasdale. Out of the Box Radio is a weekly podcast of audible ear candy dedicated to bringing a fresh perspective on this thing that we call life. And each and every week, we're going to be diving into the topics that matter most with lively conversations on issues such as health, wellness, and transformational healing, all with the goal of creating a better world and becoming a happier human being. I will be your tour guide for this epic adventure, and each and every week, we're going to be embarking on a journey with the ultimate goal being transformation to our highest potential. And now, let's get out of the box. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Out of the Box Radio. I'm your host, Christine Blasdale, and I'm really happy that you tuned in today. We've got a very special show for you. My guest is Dr. Eve Allen, a.k.a. Dr. Eve. And she has had a passion for helping others regain and maintain wellness through a balanced, holistic approach to healthcare. By combining the philosophies of the past with today's leading-edge remedies, Dr. Eve helps patients return to health by caring for the body as a whole, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, rather than just simply treating the disease. She's treated people of all ages and all around the globe, and has special expertise in the spectrum of emotional issues, gemstone therapy, weight loss, and immune system enhancement. She's also got some 22 years of experience working for some of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the country. We're going to talk about that in great detail. And Dr. Eve enjoys working very closely with colleagues in both conventional and alternative medicine. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show, Dr. Eve, because you have this wonderful background that is both Western traditional medicine, a knowledge of it, but also what we would say are more maybe of the, what would you say, the ancient arts and ancient modalities of healing?
I would say so,
okay.
Yes.
So let's tell our listeners a little bit about you, a little bit about your experience talking about 22 years working with some of the largest pharmaceutical companies. Do tell about your experience working in that world.
Well, it was quite fascinating, actually, and they were some good years. It was really incredible to watch over the years how the industry evolved and how I was really taking in the fact that, there are some things that Western medicine does a very good job with, such as if there's accidents or someone...
Your appendix bursts?
Bursts, or, you're in an accident and you lose an eye or arm is severed off, they can put that back together.
Right on.
Reattach limbs and, get things working again. I've even seen where they've taken toes off of the foot and placed them on the finger, and they actually work. That's amazing. Absolutely. Wow. So I don't really speak negatively about traditional medicine, as they call it, allopathic medicine. However, when it comes to the everyday disharmony and discomfort in the physical body temple, that's where it's a little bit more, needs a little help. And that's where I feel that the ancient wisdom, the ancient ways, the old-time ways that my grandmother did when I was growing up. I paid very close attention.
I just got goosebumps when you mentioned her.
Yes.
What's her name?
She is Mama Julia.
Mama Julia.
And so when we, I watched her and how she handled her, people in the neighborhood and things, and I just kind of always logged in all the old remedies, and I talked to a lot of older people. I was before my time as a kid. And I always resonated with people who were older than me because I was seeking their knowledge.
My grandmother was the caregiver with me and really raised me. And although I didn't learn that much about, I didn't have that relationship where she, would, let's put it this way. When I was sad or sick or whatever, Grandma's recipe was going to McDonald's and getting a chocolate shake. Yeah. But to this day, a chocolate shake from McDonald's, sometimes and I don't have them hardly ever, but when I'm feeling really low or sad, I will go and get a small chocolate shake from McDonald's and suck on that straw like we did as kids. You're just trying to suck that straw, and my grandmother's energy's all around me.
Well, that's beautiful that you have something to draw from, that you pull from, and that was very consoling for you as a child, and you're able to bring that forward into your daily life, and I think that's beautiful.
And also another thing too, from that generation, I'm not going to ask you how old you are, but from my generation, my grandmother, she lived to be 100. She had the ability. This is probably why I think she lived so long. She didn't eat super healthy. She didn't exercise, but she had the ability to let go. If she could, and she's an Aries, so she would she would blow up. She could get mad, but it would be done. She wouldn't hold a grudge. She let things, as they say, like a duck, like water off a duck's back. She went through the Depression. She went through all the different wars, Vietnam, all of these things that she experienced in her body collective, felt and saw and heard. Lost a husband, divorce, all of those things, taking care of children with no money. But she was able to let those things go and not internalize them so much. That's why she was so healthy for so long.
Well, she had one of the secrets, and that's to just living in the present moment, and you are processing as you're going along right in the present moment. She wasn't trying to, put it all in a bag and keep it on her back and bring it with her into the next moment. So whatever was happening then, she dealt with it then, and then she just moved right on. So, and I think that's excellent.
That's a good skill to have. Now, so let's talk about in your career working with the pharmaceutical companies in particular. I know for 22 years, that's a long time. You must have seen a change in the industry. I'm wondering if you can tell us, as somebody who was in the industry and someone who now does more of a holistic healing and dealing with spirituality, and we're going to go over some of the amazing things that you do with your clients. But talk about the pharmaceutical industry. How has it changed over the few decades?
Well, one of the biggest changes that I saw was when we implemented the direct-to-consumer campaign. Before
those commercials?
The commercials.
When everybody's all happy?
Yes, that was one of the biggest changes that I saw, when you could now advertise directly to the consumer, and so a lot of the prescriptions would be generated by the patient asking for it. Yes.
I can't stop moving my leg. I must have restless leg syndrome. You know what? I've been doing that my whole life.
Yeah.
It's called shaking my leg.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. Yeah. And then the side effects. Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, because those commercials are some of the strangest. It's the strangest phenomena. You're watching whatever, and a commercial comes on for some illness or issue that you don't even know people have. First of all, and they always show these happy kind of elderly people, but they look good. They look pretty good. They're like they don't look like all the elderly people that I know of, but they they're happy. They're on a swing. They're at a beach. They're smiling. They're pouring they're pouring some iced tea, and then they go, and they have to legally. I know, but then they go really fast through the long list of side effects, some of which are worse than the condition.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about, let's say, restless leg syndrome, or let's say, I don't know, irritable bowel syndrome or heartburn. And then they go through the list, and one of them, could be like, thoughts of suicide, internal bleeding, those kind of things. That even with that,
yes,
people are clamoring for these drugs.
Yes. So, people, I would just want to say that you have to really weigh the benefits against the risks of taking some of these prescription medications, because, but people want them. And a lot of times I've had medical doctors share with me that, the patient will get mad and won't come back if you don't give them the prescription that they want. And they'll go find someone else who will. So they're under a lot of pressure. And but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, I think you made a good choice in life, doing what you do. Let's talk about what you do with your clients that come to see you, and in particular. And you're based in Los Angeles, but you also do work like internationally too, right? I mean, like on Skype and things like that.
Mm-hmm. We have clients all around the world.
Okay. So let's talk. I'm looking at like sort of this like wonderful list of the things that you do. You are a doctor of alternative healing practices, a master clinical hypnotherapist. I did not know this.
Mm-hmm.
So are you hypnotizing me right now? You never know. We talked earlier. She's a Cancer. I'm a Scorpio, so you never know with water signs. So with your hypnotherapy, have you dealt with people like just getting over fears and issues?
Phobias and different things like that. We've dealt with all kinds of issues with people that they may have from, of course, to stop smoking and to lose weight. There may be issues of fear of speaking in public before other people. I've dealt with people who, even men who have had, were extra shy about dealing with women, fear of not performing and things like that. It runs the entire gamut.
What about like post-traumatic stress?
Yes.
So trauma that has happened at an earlier age, or let's say someone who's coming back from a war zone type thing?
I haven't really done very much with people with PSD, PTSD. I don't know. It's just that they haven't found their way to me. But people with those other types of emotional issues, I have.
Okay. And then another thing that you are very well versed in, and I'm very excited about this, the Gemstone energy medicine. Gemstone, meaning like in common terms, crystals and things like that. Let's talk about that, because there's a great deal of wisdom in that. And really, as a society, we're not really aware. I think people say, "Oh, that's a pretty, gemstone," and they think of it as jewelry, but they don't realize that there's a power, or there's an energy that's attached to that. Can we talk about that?
Sure. Well, all of the gemstones have energy, and I'd like for the listeners to really look at it this way. When you think of a plant, the plant, it has, roots to it. It has the bark, the stem, the leaves, and the highest expression of the plant is the flower. So now in the mineral kingdom, the highest expression of the mineral is the gemstone that it creates. So that mineral, and we need minerals. This universe is made of minerals, and those minerals are inside of our body, and oftentimes we're deficient in some of these minerals. And yes, we can, take in, and we do, calcium, magnesium, all these different minerals and things. Now, inside of these gemstones are minerals. And so when you wear the mineral, when you put it on your body as a gemstone, your body is able to absorb that particular energy. And the nutrients from it and the energetic properties that it possesses. So many of the stones have different types of properties where they can attract things, they can repel things, they can transmit, they are able to balance, calm, energize. All these are the different properties that the various gemstones possess.
And what are I know that there's so many different kinds of gemstones, but what are some of your favorite ones for your clients that come to see you? I know is it the rose quartz? I had a piece of the rose quartz. Rose quartz to me is something that resonates with me, as does amethyst. But tell us about some of your favorite gemstones and crystals.
Well, I love those two stones, rose quartz and amethyst. Amethyst is a very phenomenal stone. It has multiple types of properties to it. We actually have, I create a lot of the gemstones, and one of the things that I would love to share is the fact that this is not something that I chose to do. I absolutely did not want to do this. I was anointed and appointed to work with these stones and to bring this knowledge forward. And I asked for a different assignment. And I was told that you don't really get to ask for your assignment. When you are appointed, that's your divine assignment, and that's what I was to execute. So it took me 7 years, but I finally answered the call, and I was guided to write a book The gemstones would come to me in my sleep and speak to me and tell me, use me to, to heal this. And hey, this will help them to sleep better. And this will, give this person this stone, try this, do that. And I could hear all these different things. And even when in my awakened state. So amethyst will help you to get a good night's sleep. And, in my book, I tell you how to make a special grid to create an energy vortex to enhance your sleep.
This is in your book?
This is in the book.
And what's the name of the book?
It's called Gemstones and the Power of Healing.
By Dr. Eve.
Yeah. And but I actually, I love stones that provide layers of protection. Because, with the computers and the cell phones and all these types of things, there's a lot of electromagnetic fields that are generated from these devices. And when we carry them on our person or we have them in close proximity, it actually creates an interference field in your energy.
So what do you use to help repel that?
Okay, well, we put a diode on the cell phone, and it will ground and transmute the energy. When transmute means it just absorbs it. Mm-hmm. And so we put that in. I actually have a little demonstration I could show you, but maybe after we get off the air.
Oh, okay.
To show you how effective it really is. And but you can wear a pendant, a diode as a pendant, and or either as a bracelet, and they work perfectly. I love ruby. Ruby is the king of all stones.
Really?
That's correct. Yeah. Ruby.
So with Dorothy and her ruby slippers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's up with the ruby? What is?
Well, kings and queens rule with the ruby.
Oh, you're right.
So it has a lot of power in it. Her crown is loaded with rubies, not with anything else but the rubies, because of the energy that's in it. And it has pearls too. And pearls are the gemstones of the sea. Mm-hmm. So those two properties together, work beautifully. But ruby will help with your circulation. If you have any kind of circulatory issue, so with heart, with diabetes, or your blood circulation, or anything like that.
Blood pressure, do you think?
All of those types of things. Anything dealing with the blood.
Okay.
Ruby is very, very good for enhancing. If it needs, it automatically has all these different properties to it, and it really will energize you, give you a tremendous amount of energy. And so I just, that's a favorite stone. I also like carnelian, because many people need assistance with helping them to focus and concentrate. And so when you can put on a piece of jewelry or wear a bracelet that will help you to focus your mind and be able to concentrate better. And this stone will also help to end procrastination. Now, what I have to tell you is that the anointing is the fact that I was anointed to speak and activate the stone. I had no way of knowing what that anointing was. I heard when I was told that I was anointed and appointed, but I didn't understand that the anointing was that when we speak to you about the stone that you're purchasing or you're getting from us, that I'm activating those properties to the maximum degree
for you, for
that
person.
Particular individual.
Right.
So when they get that bracelet, it's going to do exactly what we tell you it's going to do. People have proven the reason why I came into the awareness of how it works is because other people have gone and said, well, okay, I got that from her. Well, I'm over here. Let me see if I can get this stone for my sister, or I'm going to get one for my cousin or whomever. And it doesn't do the same thing. And then they come back and they say, I want to get one of these stones again. And they get a bracelet. And wham, there it is, all this juice, all this power in it. And so after a while, so many people keep coming back and telling you, only these work really, really well. Now, I'm not saying by any stretch that I'm the only one that has this type of anointing.
Right.
Others have it as well, I'm so sure. I don't know who they are, but they would know who they are. But I can tell you that when we activate these stones, they do exactly what we, because that's a part of the anointing.
It's the intention.
It's the intention.
It's the intention. And
It's
if you
very
already have a close relationship with the gemstones, then they're just going to react that much more powerfully to you. Let's talk about also something that you that you work with, a modality that you work with, which I think is really the cutting edge. Also, another tool in your box, right, with the gemstones and then the hypnosis and all of that. And this is the utilizing sound. Now, again, this is when people hear that, they're like, what is that? I like beautiful pieces of music. I feel good when I listen to this classical music, whatever. We're talking about something a little bit different, but let's talk about sound therapy or using sound. And there's probably different octaves. There's probably different pieces of sound that resonate or that work through maybe the bowls, the quartz bowls and things like that. But let's talk about that, because I really think, to me, it's the future of medicine. I also think that it was in the past. I really do feel like either in Egypt or pre-Egypt that a lot of things were done with sound, and we've completely we've lost sight of it, or we've lost that knowledge. But let's talk about that a little bit, about sound therapy.
Well, I'm in total agreement with you that it definitely came from the past. This is ancient wisdom being revisited, coming back into the nowness. But sound is extremely, extremely powerful. And with that sound vibration, which creates, each vibration is on a different frequency. And as you know, with the chakra system that we have 7 major chakras in our bodies, and each one of those chakras vibrate at a different frequency. And so you can focus sound. I have numerous sound tools that I utilize. And one of my favorites is I have these big quartz crystal tuning forks.
What? Wait a second, because I know people who have the tuning forks, but I've never heard that they have them in quartz crystal.
Yeah,
how do you do that?
I'm one of the few people that have them. They are just absolutely amazing, and they make the most beautiful vibration. There's a sound. They're tuned to different frequencies, and they are amazing. That's in a nutshell.
What would you use that for?
Well, I use it to
balance.
To balance. When we do your divine blueprint alignment, that's putting you back in balance and bringing the harmony back into your physical body temple, and calming the mind and the emotions. Everything is balanced. But we are able to, because when know the meridian system, and we're able to touch on different points in the body to harmonize the entire body. But when there's, say, someone who has pain in the body is, crystallization. When our blood is crystalline, and when the blood is not flowing freely and it hits a certain area where there's inflammation and it slows down, it starts to crystallize. And so with the sound therapy, we're able to focus on that particular area, and it just breaks it up, and then the blood just flows freely. And it's so amazing. It's beautiful. And people really get good results. I have to tell them, don't leave your crutches in here. Take those. I don't need them. So, but sound is one of the most powerful healing modalities there is, and it's people are really seeking it now, and it's not like it's so far away. The gemstone therapy it's marching in very quickly, and sound therapy is really anchoring itself in the sense that people are getting results with it, and a lot of times to avoid something that's invasive, when you can at least try something that's non-invasive that can harmonize your body, it's just a beautiful thing.
And that's what we're talking about, and that's why the name of the show is Out of the Box Radio, because it's basically talking about all types of different subjects that we're exposed to in our lives, but thinking outside of the box a little bit of what maybe we've been doing, tackling an issue or a problem in a different way, in a different manner. And like I said, along with the sound and so much with the gemstones, I do believe that this is knowledge that it's in our birthright that we have explored, because I believe also that we've been reincarnated many, 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 many lifetimes. Mm-hmm. So I think it's all stuff that we know on a subconscious level or on a cellular level, but we've just been sort of brainwashed. Remember, it wasn't too long ago where they said, you're born in sin, your soul is damned to hell. Whatever happens to you must be because God, you did something wrong or whatever. And now people are starting to say, you know what, I can be a little bit more responsible for my health and my wellness. Mm-hmm. And as always, we want you to, like you said earlier, there's some wonderful things about Western medicine, about, what do you call it, allopathic? No, yeah. There's wonderful things, and you always want to make sure that you are, looking at something. If it's something that's very severe, you want to make sure that you get the best treatment, whatever that is. But this is knowledge that has been available for so long. One of the reasons is because it works, like with acupuncture. It's been around 2,000, 3,000 years.
Yeah,
there's a reason why it's been around that long.
Absolutely. And if you recall, acupuncture has only been in our culture for about 25, maybe 30 years. And but I recall a time when people were, I'm not going to allow you to stick me with a needle. How's that going to help me? And now it's very well accepted. It's on all the major health plans for acupuncture. And people now realize that it can really help to get the energy flowing again, unblock an energy flow. So... but the sound therapy is just, it with the different frequencies and the harmonics. When you're missing something, when there's an imbalance, usually there's a frequency or a tone that's missing in that spectrum. Mm-hmm. And that when you put it in, it harmonizes the body, and that's what brings the balance. It just fills the gap.
And that's you explained it perfectly. It fills the gap, and then it brings everything back into alignment. It's kind of like it's almost like there's a groove, mm-hmm. and when you go off the groove, you're kind of driving kind of like a little wily, mm-hmm. but the sound can pull you back in, so you're back into the groove again, if that makes sense, right?
Into resonance, right? Into to harmony again. Everything is harmonized and balanced, so it's just beautiful.
Is that because our bodies are electrical or in nature, or there is an energy or a vibration, like you said, mm-hmm. but is it because of those electrical components as well?
Yes, absolutely. When they, you're not pronounced dead because your heart stops beating. It's only when there's no electrical impulse.
Oh.
Yes.
Right.
And so what we like to really have people to do, there are things that we help to balance out, and those minerals are piezoelectric. Many of them mm-hmm. have electricity in the stones, and so when you put it on the body, it's helping to bring a current mm-hmm. of energy mm-hmm. into your body. So a lot of times when we find that people there's a spectrum, because remember I said that the universe is made of all these different, elements, all these different minerals, and so are our bodies. And because the soil that we're growing our agriculture, our food, our vegetation in, is minerally depleted because of the erosion of the soil and not rotating the crops properly and utilizing fertilizers that just force it to grow. So we're eating, but oftentimes the food doesn't have the proper amount of minerals in it. Right. So we have to supplement with the minerals, and I have trace minerals that we utilize, and they work put that current back in. So whenever is missing, when you put it back in, the body becomes very electrical and lights
I've
up
spoken to a number of people, too, of naturopathic physicians who, the importance, obviously, of water and pure water. And so I've gone into great lengths to get a pure water machine at my house. And so, and it's true, you pour the water in the chamber and you can see it's cloudy-ish kind of consistency. You put it through, and then the water is it's crystal clear. But what happens is that it draws out, it takes out, all the bad stuff, all the lead and all that aluminum, whatever, but it also takes out all of your minerals. And all of the naturopathic physicians said that if you, one of the most important things to introduce back into your body are the trace minerals.
That's correct.
And we don't think about it.
Well,
How often do you go to the store to get trace minerals?
Well, they're going to start today.
Okay.
Because anybody who's feeling fatigued, who's having muscle spasms, who's, have a little bit of clouded thinking and, just things aren't connecting. When you're pulling out, trying to look up to the sky to find that word or that's, to pull it down, you're usually minerally deficient because the minerals are responsible for over 200 different chemical reactions that take place in the body. Wow. So your brain function is dependent upon, that electrical current. And so the water carries the current of the minerals. The minerals are the fusing to send those neuronal impulses, to the brain. It works beautifully.
Just learned something really good right there. One of the other things that you do, or you're listed as, is iridologist. Now, I'm guessing that's the eyes. Okay. What do you, how do you, so you're able to look at somebody in the eyes and see if what's going on, or how do you utilize that?
Yeah, that's a modality we've done over a number of years. We've got other things that the eyes are the window into the soul, and so you can look in a person's eyes and you can see different things that are going on. That's an absolute fact. And but we use nutrition response testing, where we're actually checking the your energy systems, all of your organ systems in your body. There's an energetic impulse, and it will respond to nutrition response testing, where we're able to find out what's weak, what's out of balance, and where you need to be supported.
Love this. Okay, people, first of all, this is really important because I know if we did a test, I know probably gluten, my whole system would just shut down. I'd go, that's really important because we're putting stuff in our body that it's like our body inside is going, no, don't do it. But we don't know. There wasn't an instruction manual that came with us, right? Except for the fact that after you have it, after you have a slice of pizza, you're like, why am I so tired? Why is my belly, I ate nothing all day but one piece of toast, but my belly is
bloating
out like crazy. So you can find that through the testing that you do, the nutritional testing. And that was my next subject, nutritional medicine. Let's talk about Dr. Eve. Let's talk about some of the really good foods that we need to start consuming as a general purpose, because I know some people might be allergic to certain things. But what's in your fridge? How's that?
Gosh.
What's in your
fresh fruits and vegetables? Lots of berries, lots of fresh everything.
If you had a superfood, if you had something that
I know what you're talking about. The number one food.
There we go.
In the food chain. I don't know if people don't talk about this that much.
The number one.
But if there's a pyramid, and there's one food that sits at the very tip top of the food chain, that has all these different nutrients in it, that has all these essential, fatty acids in it, and it's wonderful for you and does miraculous things for your skin, your hair, everything. And that's avocado.
Yay!
Avocado, number one food, sits at the very top of the food chain.
Really? Why?
Because of all the nutrients that it possesses.
The oil.
And the oils, the good fats. They're good fats. And I know there was a time when they were saying that, oh God, avocados, make you fat. Well, if you eat 5 of them, yeah, you'll probably gain some weight. If you're eating a whole lot of them and you're not doing any kind of exercise,
It's a good
well,
kind of fat, right?
but even good fats can accumulate. We don't want to overeat.
Right.
Well, we're taking in nutrition as fuel.
But if you had an avocado a day,
An avocado a day would be is great.
yeah,
Yeah, it puts oil into your skin, makes your skin more supple. It puts a shine in your hair. It helps to lubricate your joints. People don't know that they need to have lubrication for the joints.
As you get older, it's important too. Yes.
Yeah, and hydration obviously is very important because that helps joint health as well as all the other organ systems. So, yeah, but avocado, number 1, love it.
What are some other ones? Let's say the top 5. We got avocado at number 1.
Mm-hmm.
What would be? Let's say there was no avocados anymore.
Okay, well then
and you had to have something else.
Well, then you would want your green leafy vegetables. Anything that's green and leafy that sits way high, and then your other green, like your broccoli and asparagus, and I love all vegetables. There's not one vegetable that I don't like. The beets are really good. You need beets. Beets help your gallbladder and your liver. And there's just a lot of good food out there. It's just a lot of good food. And we just have to really, one thing that I do, and maybe perhaps use a little hypnosis with my clients, is getting them to fall in love with, good food. And the problem is for many people is that they're not exposed to good food that tastes good. Once you taste it and it's really prepared well and it's fresh and it's the high good quality, you usually fall in love with it. I say fall in love with what's going to love you and kick to the curb all the things that are robbing and raping you, such as sugar.
Oh, okay, Dr. Eve. We're going to talk about sugar next, but I want to remind our listeners, if you're just tuning in, this is Out of the Box Radio, and I am Christine Blosdale, your hostess, and I'm speaking with Dr. Eve Allen, a.k.a. Dr. Eve, and you can find out more about her practice and all of her wonderful stuff that she's got going on by going to dreve.com, and that's DOCTOREVE.com.
Yes, and they can call me too. Is it okay if I give the number?
Okay, now we got a beautiful picture of you, so you're going to get a lot of people calling you. Don't be bugging her for other stuff. Just call her for her knowledge, okay? Go ahead, give out the number.
Okay, it's 323-658-1152. 323-658-1152. Give us a call. We'll be happy to serve you.
And also, if folks do go to that website, they can also subscribe to Dr. Eve's newsletter as well. So you can get lots of information coming at you for free, even if you wanted to. Now let's talk about sugar, Dr. Eve. We're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about sugar. We're going to talk about a couple other stuff that we'll just tease the audience with. But let's talk about the effect of sugar. And sugar today is not the same sugar that it used to be, right?
That's correct.
And let's talk about why is it so white and pretty?
Well, it's been refined and, processed. And anything that's gone through a refinement process means that the nutrients have been extracted out of it. And if you've taken the nutrients out, that means you've taken the light codes out. And there are light codes in your body, and there's light codes in the nutrition that we're taking in. So if your body is looking for it every time you ingest something, your body is looking for the light codes. And when you bring it in, the body says, "Hey, okay, where's light codes? Because we gotta connect up." And when there's nothing there to connect, then the body is confused, and it takes the stuff and it just kind of like has to filter through it as fast as it can to try to find the codes. And if it's not, it just kind of pushes it over to the side and deals with the next thing that's coming in. But it puts a load on the system because it's not able to, it slows the digestive process down significantly. Your body has to metabolize the things that come in. and it has to eliminate things. And when there's no codes in it that talks to help it out, it slows everything down. It makes you slow, sluggish, and lethargic. Mm-hmm. So you want to eat live whole foods. So the sugar is the molecules of sugar that you're ingesting, especially from white refined sugar. There's a difference. I like raw maple sugar, or coconut sugar, date sugar, agave.
The ones that are like more brownish in color.
Yes. So those are still whole, but white refined sugar has been refined.
When they say refined, are they bleaching it?
Well, refinement means it's a possibility there's a bleaching. I'm not sure about that, but when it's refined, that means it's gone through a process of extracting anything that would be alive in it. There's nothing. You're just left with these sugar molecules, this sweet taste that is. They say it's one molecule away from. It's very similar to crack cocaine.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, and it's loaded in everything. And if it's not the sugar, it's of course a step worse, which would be the high fructose corn syrup, which is genetically modified as well. And again, our bodies don't know what the hell is that.
Well, that's an endocrine disruptor.
So talk about that.
It disrupts your endocrine system. That means your body, there's a way that your body has to metabolize these sugars that come in. When they come in, it's an excitotoxin, because it excites you and wow, this is great. And then it drops you down. So it excites you, but it's a very toxic thing. So it creates disharmony and imbalance in your body.
And speaking of another excitotoxin, and this is a real pet peeve of mine, over the years I've learned a lot about this particular thing that was created in a lab. And it's in every stick of gum. It's in every diet soda. You know what it is?
Phenylalanine.
I'm talking aspartame. But they have all kinds of fun names for it. They call it, I don't know, like they because they know that aspartame is getting kind of a bad rap. They're calling it different things, like some kind of like super hydrolyzational protein or something. Yeah. They're trying to basically bullshit their way into your body with this stuff. But it's
aspartame is one molecule away from embalming fluid.
What?
That's why,
Say that again. Come closer to the microphone and say that again. Aspartame is
one molecule away from embalming fluid. And that's why people who get that stiff kind of thing, the joints won't move and all, because they're slowly embalming themselves. That's why you see people who can't hardly walk.
It's also an excitotoxin.
Yeah, because that's why they take it in, because it excites their brain cells.
Yeah.
And
the brain cells, they've actually done studies where the brain cells will be so excited that they die off. Mm-hmm. So you're killing off your brain cells. Mm-hmm. And embalming yourself.
And you're making your blood and your body tissues extremely acidic, acid. And so your body can't survive when it's in a high acidic state. So if you've ever had a fish aquarium and you know that there's a pH that you have to keep the water at in order for the fish to survive and thrive. But once that water gets just slightly acidic, the fish start getting sick. And if it stays acidic over a little period of time, those fish will die. But if you can catch it and change that water and get it back into an alkaline state, the fish get perky again and they're thriving. But they cannot live in the acid water. So when you're eating sugar, it's creating an acid environment in your blood and your body tissues. So if you think the fish can't live in the acid water, what do you think it's doing to you? So when you're taking in all these different substances that are creating an acidic environment in your bloodstream and in your body tissues, the stiffness is just one of the side effects. You're really on the road to a very slow, painful death.
And again, not many, very few people, because they figure if they sell it to you, then it's okay. If they sell it in the store, it's okay. I know it's a very naive way to look at things, but a lot of people, that's what they think. And I swear, every single stick of gum. And it's right there at the checkout counter, right? Right when you're leaving the store, it's right there. And then, of course, all of the the diet drinks and things. And they've done studies on this, that people that were consuming it, it was marketed towards women, but a lot of the women who were drinking these diet drinks, there was no weight loss. What happened is it whacked them out so much that they actually were gaining weight from it, but also just internally whatever it's doing with the excitotoxin to the brain as well.
A lot of times the acid will cause your body to hold on to weight, and it's just a cycle. It keeps going until you consciously make up your mind. No more. If you have, and most people do have intellect, if you understand what we're saying and that it's not healthy for you, once you know better, then you do better. You don't continue to do the same things.
Well, and I think part of it is the addictive quality to some of the chemicals. But I had a friend of mine who, for years, she drank probably 2 Diet Cokes a day. And one time she contacted me and said, "Christine, I don't know what's happening." She goes, "I'm hearing loud cymbals in my head." And I had told her, I said, "Please stop drinking that stuff." Because first of all, it's in an aluminum can.
Oh, okay.
Citric acid, so you got this liquid that is already, it's just, already poisonous itself in a can, an aluminum can, that's been sitting on a shelf forever, and the aspartame.
I'm sure you've told them about the fact that the fire department carries, the Cokes and things on their fire truck. AAA, when someone's battery is out and it's got corrosion around it, and so they want to jump it, they just pour some Coca-Cola on it, and it just eats away the corrosion. One drop of that soda on the hood of your car will just immediately eat the paint right down to the metal.
And we're drinking it in big gulps.
I have a cousin who was buying her soda pops by the case. And when I went to visit her, she had it just stacked up. And she was just as stiff as she could be. Very, very stiff and painful. She's, oh. And I said, "Sweetheart, you can't do this." But she's still doing it.
That's the power. Is that the power of addiction or the power of habit?
That's addiction. Because she enjoys it. It feels good to her.
Right.
However long. She likes it.
Right.
She doesn't understand.
Let's talk about one other thing, because with your work that you've done, and especially with nutrition, and we were talking about the avocado being the number one most important thing you should be having. But let's talk about this idea of gluten intolerance or wheat intolerance. Again, the wheat or the bread that we have available to us now is not the bread of our grandmother's time,
correct.
right?
That's correct.
And my understanding is also because of the processing, there's something to do with the development, though, of the wheat. I'm not certain exactly what it is with the hull, but in your experience, what has been your experience when it comes to wheat and gluten with your patients?
Well, first of all, a lot of the wheat is being processed. So people will say, "Oh, no, I don't eat the white bread anymore. I only eat the wheat bread." Okay, but then it used to be that the wheat bread was great, but now you have to have whole wheat. Wheat bread is different from whole wheat bread. And so, many people have this gluten intolerance, and it creates all kinds of side effects for them, all kinds of disharmony in the body, everything from bloating and you name any kind of digestive issue it can have. I even had one client who it created some kind of itchiness in her ears and different rashes and things like that. So there's a movement right now for gluten-free everything. And it shouldn't be in there in the first place. And that's why the food of all the foods that's out there today is not the food of yesterday. And I have, my father, he thinks, no, it's always been good for me. I know I've drank this milk all my life. I drank this all my life.
Oh.
And so now you telling me all of a sudden it's no good? So, it's not the cows. She's one milk cow used to make enough milk for 2, maybe 3 people. Now she's making it for 20.
And they originally made it just for their babies. They didn't make it for all of us.
Well, mothers made milk for their babies, and the cows made milk for their babies. And it just so happened that we could consume it. And years ago, it didn't have the problems associated with it then because they were not injecting the cows with hormones and all these antibiotics and making her produce more milk than her body is capable of doing. You should see her face is just, she's got a horrible scowl on her face. She's absolutely miserable. Her tits drag the ground and they're engorged and inflamed, and it's painful to her to have you yank on her to pull out
with a machine. And we're drinking it.
Well,
and we're drinking it still. We're still drinking it. We got a little bit of time, and oh my goodness, this is a subject. We know I could have gotten into this a little earlier, but this is something that nobody really talks about, and I just want to scare people a little. I will, we pay so much attention to what we look like on the outside. We buy clothes and makeup and jewelry and do our hair. We make sure, I got the best haircut. But obviously we don't pay that much attention what we put in our bodies. But there's something already in our bodies that most of us are not even aware of. And they got a whole little society in there, don't they?
Yes.
Let's talk about that. What am I talking about?
You're talking about parasites, I believe.
Yes, I am.
Parasites, yeah.
Parasites. Do we all have them?
Yes, most people do have them. Some have more than others, but we all have some level.
Does that tie into the sugar?
It does tie into the sugar.
Do the parasites like sugar?
Parasites adore sugar. That's what they want. That's what they feed on is just the sugar.
That's why we crave sugar.
That's exactly why.
Because these little creatures inside of us are saying, get some more sugar. Go get that big goal. Get those red vines.
I was sharing the other day about how, somebody may identify with this. You go to the store, you buy a pack of cookies, say, for instance, and you say, I'm only going to eat 2, and then I'll have some for later. Well, what you should know is that these parasites can read your brainwave activity. So if you see... They're intelligent. Yes, they are. And they're able to read your brainwave activity, and they know that there's more than 2 cookies there.
Oh, good God.
So they send the signals to your brain and say, eat more cookies. And you'll go ahead, next thing you know, boom, you've already eaten 2 more, 2 more, 2 more. And they just keep going until you have literally eaten all of it. And then once they know, because they can read your brain activity, and they say, you've eaten it all, and they stop sending the signal. But they love and they feed off of sugar. Bacteria that grows from sugar. If you have any kind of bacteria in your system and you're eating the sugar, it just helps the bacteria to just proliferate and grow.
So and here's just some of the signs and symptoms. But if you're listening to this, you got parasites, all right? But some of the things: itchy ears, nose, anus, forgetfulness, gas, bloating, loss of appetite, fast heartbeat, unclear thinking, yellowish face, lethargy, pain in the back, thighs, shoulders, drooling while sleeping. Oh, jeez, that's me. Okay. Skin conditions, bad breath, ringing in the ears, dark circles under the eyes, sugar cravings, depression, difficulty in breathing, all of this. So what do you do, Dr. Eve? What do you do to help people? Can we ever get rid of them all, or can we?
You can.
Can we lower the amount we have?
You can certainly lower it, and the goal is always to get rid of them, because if you don't get rid of them, they just continue to multiply and grow. So there are many people that I've worked with that have never done any type of parasitic cleanse. And so they've got these things growing inside. Say, for instance, there's some people who eat but can't gain weight because the parasites get your food.
Or you eat very little and you feel like you're a house.
Well, they really will.
Especially the sugar.
Yeah, they love the sugar, and so what we do is we have a parasitic cleanse. So when you come in and I work with you, it's a way that you have to it's a protocol you have to follow, because some people say, oh, I'm just going to go to the store and I'm going to get me a parasite cleanse. Well, you can certainly do that, but there are some other nuances that I'm going to share with you. And that is, before you start doing a parasitic cleanse, you must make sure that your bowels are open and flowing and you're having complete evacuations. We don't want you to kill bacteria, kill the parasites, and have them floating around in your system. They can really make you sick.
Right.
So it can really, really make you very ill. So you have to have your routes of elimination open and flowing, and then you can, do the parasitic cleanse. So if, we work with someone.
How long is the parasitic cleanse?
I have a 10-day parasite cleanse and also a 30-day. Most people, once they get on the program, they start feeling so good, they don't want to stop.
Right.
They want to, can I go again? Is it okay? Am I hurting anything? No, you're not.
And is this done with like herbs or supplements and things like that?
It's done with herbal supplements that will take them out.
And I'm reading the literature here. It says that they lay thousands of eggs every few minutes. Mm-hmm. So they're constantly reproducing in your body. They're
constantly reproducing. And so that's why I usually like to do a longer 30-day. And depending upon, we're able to, because I'm always checking people for parasites, we're able to see, like, some people just have a little bit, some have bigger infestations. And the larger the infestation, we have to come in and we take out the first, the adult parasites. And then you have to continue on, because now you're taking out the babies, and then you have to continue going because those larvae that have been laid, they're hatching.
Oh my God.
And so you have to stick with it long enough in order to take those out.
Dr. Eve, you're the exterminator. Dr. E, the exterminator.
Yeah.
We got a new name for you.
Yeah, we're gonna help you feel better.
And then you can actually, as you're doing this cleanse, can you actually see the parasites, or is there visual?
Yes, you.
Oh
you
my God! Now that's a horror movie right there.
Well,
it's better out than in.
Oh, absolutely, better out. They say that's the beast within, and these things get big.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Mm-hmm. Like big?
Yeah.
I'm tripping out. What a way to end the show.
Well, let's do it in a loving way.
Yes.
And uplifting. Don't be afraid. Just,
you just need to know.
Be courageous and get help. Work with someone, myself, or someone that you trust that is knowledgeable and can assist you. Yeah. And when you know better, you can do better. But if you don't know about it, that's why we had to bring you the information.
Always. And I want to thank you so much for all of your knowledge and all of the work that you've done. My guest this hour has been Dr. Eve Allen, and you can find out more about her. You can contact her also at the website. It's dreve.com. Spell it out all the way, DOCTOREVE.com. And she said you can call her. So what's the number again?
323-658-1152.
Do that again.
323-658-1152.
Perfect. Thank you so much again.
My pleasure.
Can I have you back on? We can talk about
Absolutely.
other stuff. We'll go a little bit more in the nitty-gritty of one of these subjects.
Yeah.
Okay?
We got lots to talk about.
I know. I'm still thinking about those damn parasites. Okay. I'm going to go get on a cleanse right now. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening this week. Remember, you can subscribe to the podcast at iTunes or iHeartRadio, as well as YouTube, and there will be a YouTube video of this conversation with Dr. Eve available very soon. So please do check that out. And until next week, remember to always think outside of the box. Bye for now.